we're just going to take a quick look at a simple, straightforward piece of equipment that goes hand in hand with your duck calls. One of those pieces of equipment that when you get it right, it works perfectly and you don't notice that it's there. If you get it wrong, it's a real inconvenience. Now, lanyards in the main are made from this stuff, paracord 550. It's a plaited nylon based cord, which, as its name implies, was originally developed late in the Second World War for the control lines for parachutes, and it has indeed got a 550 pound braking strain. You will not break this when you're using it to make a call lanyard, so you've got absolutely no worries in that sense. In terms of the selection of the style of lanyard, let's look very quickly at why you need one in the first instance. There's absolutely nothing worse than trying to operate a duck call which you are holding in your hand and which is not suspended around your neck by a piece of string of some sort or another. What do you do with it when you're about to take a shot? Your hands are full with a gun. You can try putting it in your pocket. Invariably things that you put in your pocket you lose. They come apart, and worst of all, from a duck call's point of view, your pockets are almost always full of bits of debris which soon work their way into the call and render it inoperative. So common sense dictates that the most sensible place for you to wear your duck call is around your neck. Now, I've used call lanyards made of a single strand of 550 paracord. They work perfectly well. The more popular style, which is very much in evidence at the moment, are these kind of decorative woven, there is a technical term for it that I can't remember, but these decorative ones, they're extremely strong. My only comment in respect of these is that you need to be aware that the wider this neck strap becomes, the greater the likelihood when you shoulder your gun of it fouling your gun mount. That's one of the reasons why my favourite call is one of about this sort of thickness. It's simply, even if it does get under the heel or the end of your gun stock, it's so thin that it won't seriously disrupt your aim like the thicker ones will. Now, onto a general type of lanyard, and often I'll see people who've not taken the trouble to correctly set up the calls on their lanyard, and by that I mean that the calls that they have on there are a disorganised jumble of calls that are constantly banging together, which does the calls no good and makes them difficult to find, particularly in the half light when you just want to be able to reach towards your lanyard and grab the call of your choice. Now, if you've got a few minutes, what you really ought to consider doing is just adjusting the straps so that, in my case, being right-handed, the mouthpiece of all the calls are facing to the right-hand side, so that all I have to do is, if I can show you, is to get hold of the call by the mouthpiece and it's automatically facing in the right direction. If you work out the length of the drops correctly, you'll find that you can have all the calls suspended on your lanyard without constantly knocking together. I have to say that I probably haven't done that as good a job with that as I should, but that's simply because I'm constantly chopping and changing calls whilst we're experimenting with new products. But if you've got a few minutes, you can save yourself a lot of time and effort in the field in terms of grabbing the right call at the right time, and you can save your calls potentially from a lot of damage. And one of the other things that I've noticed of late is that, for instance, MPK Custom Calls makes a complete range of calls, each of which performs a slightly different function to the others. We've got the general purpose call. This is our experimental teal hen call. At the bottom of my lanyard I've got an MPK Canada Goose call, a distance call and a cut down call. So effectively all of my calling requirements are met by the calls that I currently have on my lanyard, and I'm often mystified by the fact that you will see someone with a lanyard with 5 or 6 calls on it. With respect to the duck calls, very often they've simply got repeats of the same call. Never quite sure what the point of having a number of versions of the same call, a call that makes the same sound in multiples on your lanyard. My suggestion is that you consider some of the calls that MPK currently produce, which mean that you've got a wide spread of sound for a whole variety of different circumstances available at the end of a piece of string.